Happy engineer, welcome back. Zach White, your host here. And today it's just you and me. And I'm going to share with you one of the absolute simplest, easiest, most powerful shifts you can make to accelerate your engineering career. And that's to just stop being a lazy career workaholic. Now you're probably wondering, what is a lazy career workaholic? That doesn't even make sense, Zach. Well, in order to understand that, we need to go on a little trip together. I want you to go on a trip with me to Mexico. Now, I live in Michigan, and in the winter in Michigan, let's just say it's not great. If you don't like gray skies, short days, cold, windy, icy weather, then you don't like winter in Michigan. Now, of course, I know there are Michiganders who love winter, and my heart is with you. I'm not one of them. So every winter, my wife and I like to get away to the Caribbean. One of our favorite places to go is in Mexico, go to the Punta Cana area in the DR, all of those amazing places in the Caribbean. So I want you to imagine for a moment that you and I are going to plan a little trip to Mexico. Well, where would we begin? First thing we need to do is probably pick where in Mexico we want to stay. Are we going to do an all-inclusive in Cancun? Are we going to go to Cozumel? Are we going to go over to Cabo on the other side of Mexico? Do something different, hit the west side. Well, let's first pick a place. How would we do that? Maybe we'd call a travel agent, somebody who specializes in those resorts. Maybe we would just jump on Google or Expedia or all of these amazing travel sites and we'd start doing our own research. Everybody has their own way. You've probably done this before in your own life where you've planned a trip. Well, how many hours would you put into that planning just to decide where you want to go? And then if you're like my wife and I, oh, we got to talk about excursions now. What are we going to do while we're there? It's not just about showing up at the resort, but what will we fill our itinerary with? What kinds of unique experiences do we want to have? Meeting local people, tasting local food, going out and riding horses. We both love horses, my wife especially so. So we're definitely going to be booking a horseback riding trip. All of those things that, get into the little details of making the trip count. Plus, I probably want to plan something special for my wife. You might want to plan something special if you're bringing someone on this trip as we're planning. So what would you want to do in advance to make sure that you have those things in your suitcase? If you've bought the card or the little gift you might want to bring along. Oh, by the way, logistics. Are we going to fly? Well, definitely if we're going to Mexico from Michigan. But what other logistics do we need? Are we going to get a park and fly at the at the airport, a hotel at the airport so we can park our car? Are we going to take a taxi or you'll get a limo to the airport? What about when we get to Mexico? Are we going to use public transit? Are we going to use the hotel shuttle that's included with that resort fee? Or do we want to book something special, a private transit so we can be on our own time and not have to share, the vehicle with anybody? All of these little details. How many hours do you think my wife and I spend planning a trip like this? And if you and I were going to plan this trip, for our friends and to go together, how many hours would we invest into planning this trip to Mexico? Now, just imagine for a moment what that is. I can tell you for a fact, it is well over 10, 20, maybe 30 plus hours of planning that goes in to a trip like this when my wife and I go. And I imagine you're the same. And many engineers probably would build spreadsheets and do their own data analysis on all of these individual decisions. No shame if that's you. I get it. Well, here's the thing. We are all so tied up in doing our jobs that we never take the time to pull back and actually plan where we want to go with any of the same level of rigor and detail and excitement and energy that we would put into planning a vacation. If you would do that, you'll get a differentiated level of results. This came up in my interview with Vamsi Palimetla just in the last episode 101. I'd encourage you to listen to that interview. And I wanted to extrapolate on this idea with you right now, that we put more effort into planning a vacation than we do into planning our careers. And I call this being a lazy career workaholic, because I know you're not just sitting around. I know that you're working hard. Believe me, the clients who I support, none of them are truly lazy in the sense that they don't work hard. The problem is that you're only working in your career, not on your career. You're doing more and more work of the things that are part of your job description. You're taking on every project. Maybe you're even doing those special assignments, seeking to go above and beyond, hoping that your incremental effort and contribution will be rewarded. But that extra effort doesn't translate to getting what you want from your career when you don't have a plan. If we just decided to leave for Mexico tomorrow, our trip would not be the same as when we put all of that planning and rigor into making it an incredible experience. If you would step back from simply doing the work in your career to dedicating that same amount of planning and intention to the work on your career, then you will get a differentiated level of results. So let me give you some suggestions. The same type of guidance that I give our clients in the Lifestyle Engineering Blueprint Coaching Program, our flagship program for advancing in your career while balancing your life. This is somewhere to begin. I talk in our concept of the playbook about 4 key rhythms of planning, taking action, and then reflecting and learning from those actions. And those 4 rhythms are based off of what we see in nature as the 4 key rhythms of life. Those start with the day, the 24-hour cycle, the sun rising and setting, the week, the quarter or the season, and the year. The day, the week, the quarter, and the year. Those are the ones that we want to reflect our planning around. Now, here's some guidance on time. I encourage you every single day to give yourself between 5 and 15 minutes to focus on your career. What are your intentions for the day? What are your most important goals for the day? Your most important action items that need to be completed today? And then how did today go? Or it could be reflecting on yesterday if you want to do this all in one sitting. Some people prefer to break it up 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Other people like to do 10 or 15 minutes all at once, where you reflect on the previous day and plan the day ahead. Either way works great, but giving yourself that time to say, how did it go? What do I need to tweak or change? What am I proud of? What am I celebrating? And where am I not so proud? What do I want to improve tomorrow? Give yourself 5 to 15 minutes a day. And then weekly, 15 to 30 minutes, looking at where you need to go for the week ahead. Just 15 to 30 minutes incremental. So that's 1 day a week where you're going to have more time than others. And you're looking at, how did last week go? What's important to me for the week ahead? And what are my priorities? Let's get those on the calendar. Making sure that you're looking and forecasting for the entire week what needs to go on your calendar. Once a quarter, at the beginning of each quarter, sitting down for 30 minutes to 2 hours, looking at how did the last 90 days go? It's a really powerful question to ask yourself. If you took the last 90 days and put them on repeat, is your life going to go in the direction you want it to go? Are you going to reach your big dreams, your destiny, if you just repeat that last 90 days? Let's learn what's working, what's not working. How's your health? How are your relationships? Looking at what we call the wheel of life, all of who you are. It's a great time to check in once a quarter. You know, that's something that's probably a little bit too deep to dig into every single week or every single day. But when you get to that quarter, let's set aside more time, because we want to make sure that we're altering our course when we need to on the things that are most important in our career, but also in your life. And then once a year, setting aside 2 to 4 hours. Yeah, that's a long time, but we're talking about once a year, making sure that you are really connecting deeply to your purpose, your vision. Where do you want to go on the big things in life that matter? How much progress have you made on the goals that you really care about? How are you doing financially? Where do you want to aim energy in the year ahead? I really encourage you to look at the way that you plan and block time and give yourself this space. If you don't want to follow these time guidelines, that's fine. But Take time for yourself every day, every week, every quarter, and every year to ask yourself the questions about where am I going in my career? Where do I need to develop? What skills do I need to work on? What competencies are next up for me? Is this the company that I still want to be with? Is this the place where I still want to live? All these kinds of questions, ask them. Don't be a lazy career workaholic where all you do is crank on your job, or you'll be like so many leaders I meet who wake up 5 years and 10 years later wondering how they drifted into the place where they are and they're not happy. Don't let that be you. You can work incredibly hard, but still have a lazy approach to your career. Don't do that. And if you need help with it, that's what we're here for. Reach out to me. I'd love to support you. But this little shift, if you would treat your career like it's an extremely exciting vacation, I promise you that one change alone will have a massive impact. Go get it done. Crush comfort out there. Have fun. Let me know how we can support you. Email me, contact me anytime. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to help you succeed, get to where you want to go in your career and life. Let's do this.